Winnie emerged from the kitchen with a trash bag. On her way to the trash chute, she caught sight of a trash bag at her neighbor's door. Just as she was about to pick it up, she heard a voice coming from the apartment. "Little brat, can't you be more mindful about what you say? Don't make Winnie feel uncomfortable." "Did I say anything wrong? I had no idea." Jeffrey sounded cold. "Anyone can be a singer now, especially women. As long as they look decent, all they need is some PR packaging and a makeover." Winnie frowned. She looked into the house and Jeffrey made eye contact with her. She quickly picked up the bag of trash and left. Jeffrey was frozen in his spot for a moment before he walked to his door just as Winnie boarded the lift. He noticed that his trash at the door was cleared. "What are you doing? Is Kenneth here?" Melissa asked. "Nope." 8 o'clock at night. Aaron was watching television with a plate of freshly cut melons when Kenneth glared over at Winnie's room. "Let's go, Aaron. It's already so late." Aaron frowned. "Dad, you can drive home in my car. I want to stay here tonight." April stopped eating immediately and put down the toothpick. "No, you can't. I've already told you. Winnie is staying with me. You're only going to cause us inconvenience if you stay here. So go home now. I'll be back the day after tomorrow when I have no classes." Aaron pouted unhappily. "I'm worried that you would miss me at night. You're accustomed to hugging me when you sleep now. What if you get insomnia without me? Forget it. You better come back to the villa with me. I'll send you back tomorrow morning." April couldn't be bothered to talk to him anymore, so she stood up and handed his phone to him. "Come on, hurry along. I'll video call you if I miss you. But I doubt I will, as I've already been staring at your face for 2 months now, so I'm a little tired of it." Aaron looked at her angrily. Kenneth said quickly, "Don't be ridiculous." April stuck out her tongue and pecked Aaron's cheeks. "Aaron, distance makes the heart grow fonder. You know me. I'm just trying to play hard to get so things are more exciting when we meet." Aaron's face lit up immediately. "I understand. Well then, April, I'll get going. I'm going to miss you. Good night." He left promptly with Kenneth after that. Winnie walked out of her room. She was grinning from ear to ear. "Mr. Bennett has finally taken his leave?" "Yeah." April was thrilled. "I'm finally free. Let's go get supper. I've been craving the hot and spicy taco from the stall in front of our school. You know, I've been living under close supervision for the past 2 months, and he hasn't allowed me to eat anything outside. He considers all food from outside trash. I haven't had a single cup of coffee or Cheeto to snack on. I miss the food from school every day. Every time I ask him to buy me food, he gives me a lecture about it." April was feeling sorry for herself. She was looking forward to school reopening, and the day had finally come. Winnie found her predicament amusing. "You need to watch your diet when you're pregnant, don't you?" "I don't need to watch it that strictly. I won't have too much. Come on, let's go." April was pulling her along. "I didn't eat much for dinner to save some space for tacos." When they left the apartment, Winnie let her hair down and put on a face mask. She was a public figure now, so she had to be careful about her public image. "I'll call Jeffrey along and introduce him to delicacies from around our school." April went ahead to knock on his door. "That won't be necessary, right?" Winnie was unwilling as she didn't like Jeffrey now. "It's okay. We can get to know each other better. You were going to be neighbors with him after all. It'll be good to know him," April whispered to her before Jeffrey opened his door. "Jeffrey, I want to bring you to a taco place near our school. It's much better than the stuff we get from delivery," April said. "All right, I'll come along then." On the way there, it was mostly April who was talking. She found her 2 companions oddly silent. Jeffrey was always quite quiet, but even Winnie was quiet tonight. She didn't know how to ease the atmosphere as well. When they arrived at the stall, there were many freshmen there already. The freshmen had entered the university a month ago for orientation. The 3 of them walked in and the noisy stall fell silent immediately. The crowd was looking at Jeffrey and April. April was pretty and attracted the eye of all the boys, while Jeffrey was handsome and dashing, attracting the attention of all the girls there. They had stolen all the attention from Winnie, who was wearing a face mask. The 3 of them found an empty table and sat down. Winnie sat with her back to the public, so they wouldn't see her face. Jeffrey was sitting lazily on the old and battered chair. With the orange gaslight shining on his face, he looked dreamy like a cloud. April noticed that there were many girls secretly snapping photos of him. Although she had already anticipated such a response, she didn't expect him to be so eye-catching, even at a soup store. Of course, there were boys taking photos of April as well, but some recognized her quickly. "Stop taking photos! She is April Eisenberg from the broadcasting faculty. She already has a boyfriend, and her boyfriend is the famous CEO, Aaron Bennett. He's something." The other day, he went around telling the students here not to harbor any thoughts for his girlfriend. "So she is April Eisenberg. She's so pretty." Look at the boys sitting next to her. They look quite alike. He must be her brother. When the boys were whispering to one another, a brave girl walked up to Jeffrey. "Hey, can I have your social media account handle? I think you're so handsome." Jeffrey looked up coldly and said, "Sorry, I'm gay." Winnie nearly choked on her food. This chap, what a lad! He had no respect for women whatsoever. The little girl's face was pallid. Why were all the good-looking men gay nowadays? He had told her so crudely and straightforwardly. "Perhaps you could try. Women are much more interesting than men." The girl was persistent. "I've tried before." "No, they're not," Jeffrey said with a straight face. The girl returned to her seat. She was nearly in tears. No one else dared to come over again. April and Winnie sighed with relief and returned to enjoying their food. Initially, Jeffrey only tasted a little bit of it. Once he found it tasted pretty good, he started eating faster than the two girls. While he was enjoying the meal, a boy shyly walked over to him and said, "Hi, I'm gay too." April and Winnie were both stunned. Winnie even choked on the food in her mouth. April wasn't doing much better as she stared at the two of them in shock. Jeffrey raised his eyes. He gave the boy a bland glance and replied, "You are not interested." The boy walked away disappointed. April sighed and patted her brother on the shoulder. She asked, "Do such things happen to you often? You're so calm." "Yeah," Jeffrey said. "May I ask you one question? Do you like boys or girls?" April asked. She hadn't thought about it before. She now realized that her brother had never seemed to be interested in girls. "I'm not sure yet," Jeffrey answered and elegantly took a bite of a taco. April was speechless. "He's not sure yet? Shouldn't that be very clear?" she thought. Winnie ate the last bite of her food and began to feel full. She glanced at April and her brother. April was having her second empanada. Jeffrey had ordered some more food. As she quietly waited for them and took a drink, she thought, they are brother and sister. After about 10 minutes, April was finally full. With satisfaction, she said, "It was really good. If only I could eat like this every day. Compared with this, I was living the life of a prisoner back in the villa." Winnie rolled her eyes and thought, she's been spoiled by Aaron. April led an easy life. Everything was provided for her in the villa. Many people were jealous of her for that, yet she called it a life of a prisoner. Jeffrey elegantly wiped the corners of his mouth. Coldly and gracefully he said, "I never thought this kind of food could taste good." Once he finished talking, the restaurant owner of the stall took a picture of him with her phone. "Delete that," Jeffrey said with a frown. "Young man, I want to use your photo as an advertisement. How about this? You are welcome to eat here for free from now on. I won't charge you this time either." The owner fawned over him. Jeffrey stayed silent for a few seconds before finally agreeing. "All right." April sighed. Her brother was easily swayed by food. All three of them had overeaten, so their pace was slower on their way back to the apartment. Walking past the entrance of the school, they saw Kiara come out the door. She was arm in arm with a young girl who was in a camouflage suit. The girl looked a little like Kiara, but not as dashing or sexy. The girl had snow-white skin and an oval face, and arched eyebrows. She looked gentle, young, and innocent. "April, Jeffrey, what a small world." Kiara greeted them with a smile. They hadn't seen each other since they returned from Lukesville. "Is this your sister?" April asked. Kiara had earlier mentioned her sister joining Langford as a freshman this year. "Yeah, this is my sister," Kiara replied. "Her name is Ella. Tomorrow will be the official opening of the semester. I came here to bring her some clothes. Now we're going to the supermarket over there to shop for some food." After responding, she began introducing her sister to the others. "This is April. She's Mr. Bennett's girlfriend. This is her brother Jeffrey. And this is..." "She's my friend." April didn't give more details. "Good to meet you all." Ella fixed her eyes on Jeffrey. Her cheeks reddened and her eyes glowed with surprise and shyness. She asked, "Which department are you in?" Jeffrey blandly glanced at her. For Kiara's sake, he answered the questioning. "Directing." "What a coincidence," Ella said. "I'm studying acting. Can I ask you to direct my show in the future?" She seemed infatuated with Jeffrey. April could understand the girl's feelings. She was once a little girl too. It was like her falling in love with Isaac at first sight. However, she wasn't as brave as Ella. "I'm sorry, you guys can't afford to hire me," Jeffrey coldly replied. Ella stayed silent. Her eyes suddenly became lusterless. It was as if a bowl of cold water had quenched her burning hope. Jeffrey probably felt that he wasn't being mean enough, so he added, "Besides, entering the acting department doesn't mean that you can become an actress. Some people never get a chance to play a part in even one film." Ella nearly cried. Winnie quietly sighed. She suddenly felt that Jeffrey had actually been pretty polite to her. April, on the other hand, pinched his hand. He was as sharp-tongued as Melissa. "I'm sorry, my brother doesn't know how to be polite yet," she said. "It's okay. I'm already used to his sharp tongue," Kiara said with a wave of her hand. "Also, he's right. In show business, the competition is severe. I'm not optimistic about it either." However, Ella insisted on coming to Langford, and I couldn't change her mind. Thankfully, she had learned what kind of person Jeffrey was long ago. He had no evil meanings. He was just straightforward like Mr. Bennett. "Don't say that," April said with a smile. "Ella is pretty. We have a lot of pretty girls in our school, but I think she can still impress people. Well, we should get going. See you." Kira waved and left with Ella, who turned to look at Jeffrey from time to time. April glared at Jeffrey. "Can't you be nice? She's just a young woman. Plus, Kira has helped us." Jeffrey's black eyes showed a trace of confusion. "Was I wrong? So many film companies want me to direct their films and TV shows, which are invested with billions and filled with first-line stars. I've turned them all down. Would I direct a show for her? That's so naive." "Why did you never mention it?" April awkwardly asked. "It's nothing to brag about," Jeffrey said as he lazily walked forward. Winnie whispered in April's ear, "Are you sure that he's your brother and not Aaron's?" April was speechless. She shared the same feeling as Winnie. Ella walked shoulder to shoulder with Kiara, but her mind was somewhere else. She was thinking about Jeffrey. What was love at first sight? Was this it? Her heart was still pounding. "Look where you're going. There's a tree ahead." Kiara pulled her aside. "Sister, you oversaw Miss Sue's father's case, right?" Ella grabbed her sister's sleeve. She looked focused now. Kiara looked at her. She knew what her sister was thinking about. "Although I took on the case, we moved along quickly because Isaac turned himself in." "That's not how the news reported it. They said you did a splendid job." "At the beginning, I did. If Isaac had hired Mike Tucson, that unscrupulous fella, I might not have won the case." Ella pouted, saying, "Sister, do you believe in love at first sight? I didn't before, but I just experienced it for myself. When I bumped into that senior back then, my mind was in a fog. I like him, and I want to be with him." Kira burst into laughter. "When you fall in love at first sight, you're falling in love with someone's appearance. Ella, you don't know what true love is yet. You only like him because of his looks. You don't even know what he's like as a person." "I like him anyway. Sister, you know I don't give my heart away easily." Ella tugged on her sleeves. "Can you interact with Miss Eisenberg more to create more chances for me?" "I think you have more chances to talk to Jeffrey than I do. You're going to be in the same school." Kira raised her hands. "I've talked to Jeffrey before, and I don't think you two are compatible. You are too spoiled, and Jeffrey is too cold. He needs someone with a gentle disposition." Ella scoffed. "You can only tell if a pair is compatible after they get together. You weren't willing to work towards your love, and that's how he was stolen away by Miss Eisenberg." Kira's eyes widened. You're too young, and you don't understand. It's okay if you don't want to help me. I will handle it myself, Ella said, pouting. Back in the apartment, Winnie removed her face mask and laughed. Your brother is quite the honey for the flies. School hasn't even started yet. I think that Junior has fallen for your brother. April sighed. I can tell. You can't force feelings in love after all. What about Jeffrey? You didn't say a word to Jeffrey. Your brother has quite a sharp tongue. I can handle it. Winnie laughed lightly. Too bad. Wait until you spend a day with Aaron. You won't last a day. Great. We're not family, so I don't have to spend time with him ever. Winnie laughed and went back to her room. After April came out from her shower, she realized that Aaron had video called her several times. She called him back quickly, and his handsome face appeared on her screen. The application had a filter on the picture, so he looked even more dashing than usual. April couldn't help but admire the image. He was handsome all around, even though his face was magnified on the screen. You just showered? Aaron asked as he looked at her pink cheeks flushed from the hot water. He was turned on. April, I want to see you naked. Crazy. Come on, I can strip for you too. Aaron quickly removed his shirt, revealing his strong upper torso. April blushed. You look great, but I'm going to bed. Wait, I miss you. Aaron was looking at her seductively. I'm not used to sleeping without you. It's become a habit now. April's heart was pounding excitedly. She felt bad. He missed her so much while she was wholeheartedly enjoying her freedom. I'm coming back in the afternoon the day after tomorrow. Just stay focused at work. She blew him a kiss and then hung up with embarrassment. Aaron was stunned and elated. He had completely underestimated how attracted he was to this woman. Now he had to take another cold shower. That night, he tossed and turned in bed. He wasn't used to being alone. The next day, April woke up and saw Aaron's social media update. He posted at 2 a.m. My wife is in school and I'm having trouble sleeping at night. April, I miss you. I miss you. April blushed. After washing her face, there was a knock on the door. Winnie opened it to see Aaron standing outside. He was wearing a sapphire blue suit and looked dashing as he briskly walked into the apartment, carrying breakfast in his hands. I thought I told you that we were going to eat in the canteen today. April looked at the time. It was about 7 a.m. He must have woken up at 6 a.m. Winnie was packing her bag as she teased April. Of course he misses you. Aaron looked at Winnie coldly. Your fans miss you too. I saw them waiting for you outside on the way up. You should head over quickly. Don't make them wait for too long. He was chasing her away. Winnie wasn't planning on leaving with April anyway. She was worried her fans might bump into her and hurt April's baby. Winnie, ignore him and have some breakfast first. Mr. Bennett is right. I have to go sign their albums. I'll just take some and eat along the way. Winnie grabbed her bag and some food as she walked out the door. Aaron quickly pulled April onto his lap. He started kissing her fervently, stuttering between kisses, saying, April, you are good at playing games. You have my whole heart, you little vixen. So cunning even when you're pregnant. April was getting dizzy from his kisses. How was she cunning? She didn't do anything. The door opened abruptly, and April quickly pushed his head away. With her cheeks red, she turned to look at Winnie, who was blushing as well. Well, I'm sorry, I left my pen. Winnie picked up a pen on the coffee table and quickly slipped away again. When the door closed, Aaron lowered his head and said, Let's continue. Continue? Winnie was walking to the lift with her heart beating quickly and her face red. The lift was taking a while. Mornings were always busy for everyone, especially in a 30-story building. Suddenly, the neighboring door opened and Jeffrey emerged, carrying a black Nike bag. He was wearing cargo pants and a white button-down shirt. His every move looked graceful. Winnie averted her gaze quickly and concentrated on the LED display above the lift. Where's my sister? Jeffrey asked. Winnie ignored him. I'm talking to you. Jeffrey's tone was still neutral. Winnie continued to ignore him. As she stayed silent, Jeffrey turned and headed toward her door. Winnie thought of the two who were making out in the flat. She had no idea what they were doing now. With no other choice, she said, Mr. Bennett came over this morning. Don't disturb them. Jeffrey paused slightly, then dropped his eyes and said, Didn't they see each other last night? Do they have to be so inseparable? He thought. That's how people are when they're in love. They want to be together every moment. You don't understand it. Winnie sighed. They both fell into silence. 2 minutes later, the elevator came down. There were a lot of people crammed in. Winnie didn't want to wait any longer, so she forced her way in. Seeing Jeffrey standing outside motionless, she couldn't help but say to him, "It'll take you 10 minutes to wait for the next ride. It's the morning rush." Hearing that, Jeffrey walked into the elevator without any other choice. The elevator then stopped at a lower floor, letting a fat man in. The man moved toward Jeffrey, making his body press tightly against Winnie's. Winnie was shorter than Jeffrey, so as he moved over, their bodies were squeezed tightly together. Her face was against his chest. Winnie didn't smell the scent of a mature man, but did smell the aroma of laundry detergent. Through his shirt, she felt the warmth of his skin. Jeffrey felt a little awkward as well. Winnie's chest was pressing against his body. He was surprised the slim-looking girl had full breast. She leaned against his chest, looking like a little girl. Girls are just girls. No matter how many years older than me, she's still a little girl, he thought proudly. Since they lived on a relatively high floor, the elevator moved slowly down, stopping from time to time. The weather was hot, and the heat from both their bodies blended. Soon, Jeffrey's shirt was moistened by sweat. With great difficulty, Winnie turned her back to Jeffrey in the elevator. Following her movement, Jeffrey made a gasp. "This woman turns her back to me. Doesn't she know that her hair is right in my face right now?" Someone was shoving Jeffrey from behind, making him sway. He was sweating again. As Winnie turned around, he felt hot on the outside and inside. Soon, Winnie felt it too. At first, she thought that Jeffrey had keys or something in his pocket, but she soon started to feel awkward. With surprise, she turned and glared at him. "Shameless guy," she thought. "He seems to be too proud to talk to anyone, but it turns out that he's such a dirty man. This is outrageous." Winnie violently stomped on his foot. Jeffrey gasped again. At that point, the two only wished for the elevator to hit the ground floor. However, the elevator paused again. Winnie couldn't stand it, so she made an effort to move. The others in the elevator were annoyed as well. A person pushed her with their elbows, saying, "Don't you see how crowded this elevator is? Why are you still moving?" Once again, Winnie was pushed into Jeffrey's arms. The others all turned to her, but she was still wearing a face mask. But Jeffrey noticed that her ears had reddened. "She's so shy," he thought. Coldly, he turned to the middle-aged woman who had just pushed Winnie and said, "We all live in this building. Do you have to yell? We're all uncomfortable in this crowded elevator." The woman glared at Winnie, who was still in his arms, and said, "You were studying at Langford, right? Nowadays, young people live together before even finishing school. In our days, boyfriend and girlfriends didn't even dare to touch each other's hands." "What are you talking about?" Winnie's cheeks burned even hotter. "We just live on the same floor." "Who would believe that?" The middle-aged woman snorted and laughed. Jeffrey frowned, saying, "In your days, most of the people got married in their 20s. Only ladies that were left over didn't dare to hold hands with men at that age." "Oi, you!" The woman moved her chubby body toward Winnie, saying, "So impolite." Winnie's entire body was pressing toward Jeffrey. She could do nothing but complain silently. "Do you have to yell in the elevator?" Jeffrey repeated. One part of his body was making him feel more and more uncomfortable, so much that he seemed to even have a fire burning in his eyes. The woman was a little frightened. Fortunately, the elevator finally arrived at the ground floor, and the people near the door all walked out. Jeffrey abruptly put an arm around Winnie's waist and walked out as well. Winnie gave a start. She heard the middle-aged woman say to her neighbor, "They said that they're not a couple, yet they're holding each other so tightly." Winnie felt she wanted a hole to crawl in. She lived in this building, and now her reputation was ruined for good. "Jeffrey, what's wrong with you? Let go of me." She twisted her body. However, Jeffrey refused to let her go. He dragged her to the other side of the elevator, then finally stopped near the wall. He then dropped his arm and said to her, "You can leave. I just wanted you to cover it for me." Winnie paused briefly, then glanced at his crotch area. Next, she was stunned. Realizing what she had just seen, she felt as if her brain was on fire. She didn't dare take another glance, but said to him, "You dirty man! Jeffrey took a deep breath. Something like this never happened to him before. It was so embarrassing. I am a healthy man. That elevator was crowded. Winnie glared at him with both shame and anger. Jeffrey lowered his head, pressed one hand on the wall, and said, "All right, just leave. I need some time to chill." Hearing that, Winnie couldn't help but glance at his crotch again, then turned and left. She swore that she would stay away from him. He's so young yet so sick, she thought. April even thought that he might be gay. However, even though he doesn't look strong, Winnie hurriedly shook her head to get rid of the crazy picture in her mind. Jeffrey stood there until he felt better. Suddenly, someone patted him on the shoulder from behind. "What are you doing?" April was standing behind him, holding a cup of soy milk. She wasn't wearing any makeup. Aaron stood beside her, carrying her bag on one shoulder. "Your face is so red. Are you feeling uncomfortable?" April asked with concern. "You're not in heat, are you?" Aaron said blandly. Jeffrey stayed silent. April glared at him. "Not everybody is like you," she said in her head. "Ignore him," said April. "Let's go to school together." It was nice to go to school with her brother, but April regretted it once they were on their way. The man next to her was too eye-catching. Everyone turned to look at them on the street, and many girls looked at her with envy. Reporters and fans swarmed around the school gate. Most of them had come to meet Ryan, but a few loyally awaited Winnie. April was used to it. It happened every new semester. But this year was slightly different. The fans were there for her good friend Winnie, and she was proud of her. She could already see her giving out autographs with her assistant Bob, who stood beside her trying to maintain order. Suddenly, a man leaped toward Winnie with a bouquet.
"Winnie, will you marry me?"
Bob was shocked, and he quickly stepped forward to block the man. The man pushed her away and pulled Winnie into an embrace. The reporters surrounding them weren't helping the situation by snapping photos. Some of the fans were taken aback, and some started screaming. The scene turned chaotic as everyone jostled each other. It was an interesting story. Up-and-coming artist taking advantage of by her fan. That's too much. April was about to rush forward, but Aaron held her back.
"There are so many people there. What happens if you get injured?"
Before April could reply, another figure dashed forward. Jeffrey sprinted toward the crowd and pushed the fans out of his way. He forcefully separated the male fan from Winnie and threw a punch in his face. The man fell to the ground. Winnie was stunned when Jeffrey handed her his school bag.
"Hold on to my bag,"
Jeffrey told her coldly and threw a couple more punches at the man who was climbing to his feet. He started kicking the man and only stopped when the man lay still on the ground. The security officers arrived at the scene and soon took the man away. Winnie, who was hiding behind Bob, now heaved a sigh of relief, saying to Jeffrey, "Thank you." Jeffrey took his bag from her hands and quietly said,
"This is for what happened in the lift earlier on. We're even now."
He swung his bag across his body and briskly walked away. Winnie was stunned. Before she could react, a group of girls started gasping and saying, "Damn, that's so cool. He was so good-looking. There's someone even more good-looking than Ryan in Langford College." The reporters were in a discussion as well.
"Langford College has enrolled in extraordinary talent this year."
"Quick, let's snap more photos. This man is bound to be famous in the future."
"Winnie, let's go."
Bob held on to Winnie and started running into the school. The fans wouldn't be able to follow them once they were at the school gates. Back in school, April quickly reunited with Winnie. "Winnie, that was too careless of you. How could you not bring a bodyguard with you?" "I don't like being followed," Winnie said sheepishly. Bob had communicated with the fans last night. He said the fans who were coming today were all part of the fan club. "I didn't expect anyone this extreme. You should be more careful next time. Thank God Jeffrey was around today. See? I told you he is a good guy, even though he is a little unfriendly," April said. Bob laughed, braces and tilted to saying,
"Right. That tall man. He's so handsome."
Winnie still felt uncomfortable thinking about what happened
from the past. Natalie quickly calmed herself down. One of the club staff members came over.
In the morning, she wasn't exactly grateful to him. If he didn't mess up,
Loved yet. So, and sometimes wished that he could kill Bryce himself.
in front of her earlier, he might not have intervened at the school gates. They walked up to the school gate again. April was about to enter with Winnie when Erin suddenly grabbed her wrist.
You're leaving so soon? Aren't you going to kiss me?
Erin looked at her cheekily. Winnie, you go ahead. April waved to her friend. Erin laughed. He had been waiting all morning for a kiss. Little did he know that April was about to berate him. A morning kiss! Dream on after what happened earlier. If you aren't going to help out, don't stop me from helping my friend. April was somewhat angry. Winnie is a good friend of mine. Erin frowned. He felt indignant.
She's not my friend. If I had stepped in earlier on, the reporters would have snapped photos of me, and they might have even concocted a scandal about me.
What if I didn't go, and you didn't either? The fans were blindly chasing after stars. None of them were going to help Winnie, and the reporters were too busy collecting material for their next big scoop, April said heatedly.
The school will maintain law and order.
Erin was annoyed.
He couldn't have done anything extreme in public.
You're too much. April glared at him angrily and turned to walk into the auditorium. By the time the ceremony ended, Winnie had already become the trending topic online as the star who was taken advantage of by her fan. Some of the reporters had recorded videos of what happened, and April was angry. People nowadays were so low, turning a blind eye to those in need and even mocking Winnie for what happened. When the two of them went to the canteen for lunch in the afternoon, Winnie was pretty down. Don't read the comments online, April said, comforting her. Winnie said suddenly, I wonder what Ben would think about this. I must have looked quite silly. I was so flustered and taken aback. He might laugh at me. April was surprised and sighed for her friend. She knew that Winnie was working so hard to show Ben that he had made the right decision. They were all women after all, strong-headed women. April caught sight of Jeffrey in the canteen and waved to him. Jeffrey was carrying his food on a tray and walked over. April smiled and said, Thank you for today, Jeffrey. You were cool. Even your sister is charmed.
Huh,
Jeffrey said casually as he ate his food with his head lowered. She seemed to be complimenting herself more. The atmosphere was a little low, so April added again, Those reporters are too much. How can they post videos online? Jeffrey swallowed his food and looked at Winnie, who looked tired.
If you can't handle this bit of drama, you should just leave the entertainment industry.
Winnie's small face turned pale.
I'm just telling you the facts,
Jeffrey added. Winnie tightened her grip around her spoon.
What's wrong? Are you upset about what happened this morning?
Ryan walked over with his food. He had dyed his hair an ash gray over the holidays, and he still looked rather handsome. I didn't expect Ryan the superstar to grace the canteen with his presence, April said, quickly changing the topic. She was going to break down if she spent any more time with the two of them.
I knew my old friends would be here somewhere.
Ryan looked a little hurt.
Unlike someone who didn't bother to contact me at all.
April didn't know how to respond. Erin had sneakily put his number on the blacklist.
All right, I know it's because your boyfriend is very strict with you.
Ryan's smile didn't look real. However, he sincerely felt very happy for her.
Earlier, your mom visited my mom. She was happy.
My mom told me about it. April sighed. 10 years ago, Melissa and Ryan's mother weren't close. Unexpectedly, they became good friends now. Let me introduce you. This is my brother.
I know.
Ryan smiled.
Your brother's photos have spread all over the school forum. Many people saw him fighting this morning. He's even more popular than me. He became the most handsome boy in school.
Really? April was surprised. She didn't know that at all. Jeffrey, did you hear that? Jeffrey was focused on the food.
The burger's really good. Your brother is really not like you.
Ryan smiled.
And Winnie, what happened this morning is only a small thing. To be honest, you are famous now, and you have great resources. Many people will be jealous of you. No matter what happens, your fans will never go against you. They'll only listen to your songs. Just forget about this morning.
Thank you, she said with a faint smile, and fell silent.
It's all right. You might soon be one of the best singers in the country, so I need to build a good relationship with you. In the future, I might ask you to sing the theme song of my film. Please don't turn me down,
Ryan said jokingly. The tense atmosphere was immediately eased. Jeffrey frowned at Ryan. He didn't like him much. April, Winnie, and Ryan. April heard a voice calling them as a young woman ran over to them. April and the others raised their heads and saw Ella smiling at everyone. And Jeffrey. Ella shyly fixed her eyes on Jeffrey. Jeffrey, you're impressive. I've watched the video of you fighting that guy and you were super handsome. How have you learned to fight? I guess you can do martial arts? I'm surprised that you're an exchange student from France. You're really good.
I'm full.
Jeffrey quickly finished his food and left. Ella was disappointed, but soon she turned to April with a sweet grin and asked, "What kind of girl does Jeffrey like? The gentle ones, the hot ones, the sexy ones, or the ones with a lot of skills?" I don't know for sure, April responded awkwardly. Kiara Kell's sister was straightforward. What does he like to eat or drink then? I can cook for him. I can make him lunch every day. Well, he likes meat. I think he eats all kinds of meat, as long as they're cooked well. Also, he seems to like the Mexican food near our school. Thank you, April. Ella then started asking many questions about Jeffrey. About 10 minutes later, April, Winnie, and Ryan left the canteen together.
She has a lot to talk about, said Ryan. Is it okay for you to tell her so much about your brother?
Those aren't secrets. I think it'll be fine. Also, she's adorable. And I guess my brother is not interested in women. So at least we all would know the truth.
Don't worry, I'm sure your brother likes women.
Winnie suddenly joined the conversation. How do you know? April was surprised. Winnie coughed with embarrassment, then made up a story. Once I saw him looking at questionable pictures of women in his phone. April was shocked. Winnie looked at the sky, pretending not to hear. She didn't mean to defame Jeffrey. She just said it without thinking. After all, he was so annoying. Besides, she wasn't wrong. He was straight indeed. Very straight. That night, April lazily lay on the couch watching TV while enjoying a barbecue. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. Winnie walked to the door and looked into the peephole. "Mr. Bennett is here," she said. "Don't open it." April immediately frowned. "Are you fighting again?" "He didn't help you this morning," said April unhappily. "I thought it was something serious." Winnie smiled. "Mr. Bennett only cares about you. Other women mean nothing in his eyes. It's completely normal he didn't help me. But women tend to fall in love with men who help them under critical situations. What if I fell for Mr. Bennett?" "You won't. You're my good friend, and you like Ben." "April, never ask your boyfriend to be too nice to your female friends. We can't control our feelings," Winnie said seriously and prepared to open the door. "Wait." April gave a start, then hurriedly got up from the couch, put the barbecue into the cabinet, then went to the bathroom to brush her teeth. She moved so quickly that she didn't look like a pregnant woman at all. As the door opened, Aaron walked in, holding some desserts. Marvin followed behind him.
"What took you so long to open the door?"
April's brushing her teeth. Aaron abruptly stopped walking and turned to Winnie.
"I'm sorry about this morning,"
he said with sincerity in his voice. "It's okay. Actually, that man only hugged me. The security guys came quickly." Winnie shook her head.
"At that time, did you feel that as a woman, you needed a man?"
Aaron suddenly raised his brows and continued.
"Marvin is good."
Winnie was a little confused. Marvin smiled awkwardly.
"Boss, you can't do a hard sell like that," he thought. I watched the video. I figured that you might be frightened this morning, so I came here to see how you're doing," Marvin said coyly. "I brought you fruits and desserts. I didn't pay for those," Aaron added, "except for my family and my girlfriend. I won't spend a penny on anyone else."
Winnie didn't know what to say.
Why do I smell barbecue?
Erin said.
There's an obvious scent of cumin.
Really? I don't smell it, Winnie responded without confidence. Erin sneered, then walked toward the bathroom. April had just brushed her teeth. Seeing him come over, she glared at him.
Why did you brush your teeth? Did you just have barbecue? Were you trying to brush off the evidence?
Erin expressionlessly took away her toothbrush. April's eyes widened. Don't be ridiculous, she gargled. Erin walked around the living room and opened the TV cabinet. A bunch of barbecued snacks fell out. There were roasted eggplant, barbecued lamb skewers, and chicken wings.
Are you planning on feeding my baby these?
Erin questioned her.
I don't think pregnant mothers can eat these. Takeaway foods are extremely dirty. Haven't I told you before? They use recycled oil. The meat is never fresh and the chickens are injected with steroids. You are harming our little princess.
April lowered her head in guilt. I only had a bit of roasted eggplant. The rest are for Winnie.
Yeah, they're all mine.
Winnie nodded her head quickly.
I don't buy it. These are too little for just you.
Erin threw all the food into a trash bag.
I'm seriously thinking you went out for supper last night behind my back.
No, I didn't.
Anyway, I can't let you live alone anymore,
Erin said coldly.
Since you don't think it's convenient for me to stay with you two, I'll stay next door with your brother. We can go back to the villa when you don't have classes.
Don't. April was about to break down. She was looking forward to her freedom. The apartment is too small, and there's not enough space for your precious body. My brother wouldn't enjoy staying with you.
I'll have to live with you then,
Erin said insistently. Go stay with Jeffrey then, April said softly. Erin grunted, then walked over next door.
What do you want?
Jeffrey was obviously unwelcoming toward him.
Next time your sister goes to class, I'm going to be tagging along. It's inconvenient for the girls if I stayed with them, so I'm planning to stay with you,
Erin said casually.
Don't you have 3 rooms? I'm sorry, I prefer to live on my own, and we're not that familiar with each other,
Jeffrey said, rejecting his proposal.
I guess I'll have to call your mother then.
Erin fished out his phone.
Do you think I want to live with you? Your sister doesn't listen to me and she keeps feeding herself junk food. All right, you can stay with me.
Jeffrey had a headache. Melissa would definitely say yes to his request since it was for the benefit of her daughter.
Don't worry. Your sister doesn't have many modules. I'll only be staying for 3 days every week, up to November at the most. Okay.
Jeffrey was annoyed. April already had some of Erin's clothes at her apartment, so they didn't have to go shopping for more things. He quickly moved over in about 10 minutes. You should rest easy. I'm going back, April said. Erin grabbed her wrist before she could leave.
Sleep here tonight.
The man was looking at her seductively and sounded bossy. April was speechless. It would be as if I moved over too. Jeffrey enjoys his peace and quiet. If I move over, we would be imposing on him.
I guess I should move over to your place then.
Why are you so troublesome? April was glaring at him. If you don't want to stay here, go back to the villa. But don't bother the 3 of us, especially when we're still in school.
Erin frowned. Then stay here a little longer. Marvin is over there. Give him some time to talk to Winnie.
Jeffrey's hand quivered as he held his coffee mug. Okay. April gave it some thought. It would be good to give Marvin and Winnie some time to talk. Jeffrey, do you mind me sitting here for a while more?
Whatever. I'm going to the study.
Jeffrey was carrying his coffee and walked into the study. April looked at his back and recalled what Winnie said to her today. If it were true and Jeffrey is into women, it wouldn't be healthy for him to be looking at explicit pictures. Something could go wrong if this continued. She thought about it, then went back to her apartment to retrieve a few books before she walked into the study.
Where are you going? Can't you keep me company for a little while longer?
Erin grabbed her grumpily. I'm going to talk to Jeffrey for a bit. April knocked on the study room.
Come in.
Jeffrey quickly closed his laptop. Was he looking at those pictures again? April couldn't stop worrying about him. Richard enjoyed those photos too and ended up being single.
What's the matter?
Jeffrey looked over at her. Oh, what are you busy with? April tried her best to ask casually.
Just reading some class material.
Jeffrey looked away. He was reading about things relating to men and women. He was taken aback by what happened in the morning and he wanted to find a way to control himself. If it happened again, he would feel like an animal. April was staring at her brother. He looked a tad unnatural. She was even more certain of her assumption. Jeffrey, I have some books that I find quite good. You can read these if you have time. Don't watch those things.
Okay.
Jeffrey took the books from her and placed them on the table. After a while, he noticed that April hadn't left yet. He frowned and asked,
Anything else?
Well, since you're in university now, you should enjoy yourself while you have the chance to. You should go around and make some friends.
I think Winnie is your only friend. Am I right?
Jeffrey interrupted her. That stung. She wanted to make friends, but she always invited jealousy and envy from her peers. I don't want you to be like me, April said sincerely. It is nice to have some friends at the university. It's still possible to make true friends here, unlike out there in the world. Relationships in the future will be a lot more complicated and the girls will be realistic. If you could meet someone who you have feelings for, you can try getting into a relationship. Although you are an exchange student, I hope you will stay in the country in the future. Besides, you should do more aerobic exercises. It's good for your body and mind.
Okay.
Jeffrey nodded his head. Also, if you have those desires, you can talk to your brother-in-law about it. He was a virgin for over 30 years and he still managed fine. He's more experienced in that aspect. Jeffrey's expression suddenly froze. He stood up abruptly and his gaze was piercing.
What did Winnie tell you about today?
Winnie must have told April about what happened in the lift this morning. How could she go around telling people about something so private? He thought they were even after what happened at the school gate. April was shocked that Jeffrey reacted so strongly to what she said. She thought whatever Winnie had told her must have been true. She couldn't admit to it. She didn't want to strain Winnie's relationship with her brother anymore. Wait! April ran up to stop him. Winnie didn't say anything, she said.
Jeffrey sneered and said, How do you know then? I don't want to be like this. I can't control myself.
April gently stroked his back, saying, I know. You can't help it you want to see those kind of pictures because you were curious about women. But we should do it in the right way. You can't get addicted.
What did you say?
Jeffrey interrupted her.
What pictures?
April paused briefly, then responded with, She said you like to look at pictures of naked women. Isn't that true? Jeffrey wanted to strangle Winnie. She defamed him. That was outrageous. She was the most vindictive woman he knew. There wasn't a guest next door. He would rush over right now to teach her a lesson.
All right, I get it. Just go.
Jeffrey pushed April out, then locked the door. April was upset. Suddenly, a sour voice was heard from behind her.
I didn't know that I was an experienced virgin in your eyes.
April slightly froze, then replied awkwardly, You were eavesdropping on our conversation?
I'm telling you, I was an experienced virgin because I didn't meet you.
Aaron snorted and pulled her into his bedroom. At 10 o'clock at night, April returned to her apartment. Her lips were red and burning after several long kisses. Marvin had already left. Winnie, who was on her phone, shivered. April, I can't believe you did that to me, she said. She hardly made up stories about other people, and when she did it this time, he found out about it within 24 hours. I was trying to tell him to quit, but he easily guessed it was you who told me about it. He was angry. I think you should just stay away from him for the next few days, said April with embarrassment. Winnie stayed silent. What else could she possibly do? The next morning, Winnie left home half an hour earlier than usual, as she didn't want to be in the crowded elevator with him again. However, he saw her once she walked out of the elevator. She turned, intending to go back, but Jeffrey quickly made 2 steps forward, grabbed her hand, and pulled her under a tree. The sunlight poured onto his shoulders through the leaves, failing to cover the anger in his eyes. "Hi, good morning." Winnie's lips twitched slightly as she greeted him.
"You defamed me out there, and now you're wishing me a good morning?"
Jeffrey stared at her with daggers in his eyes. As he finished talking, he pressed his thin lips together wrathfully.
"As I said, I saved you yesterday, and we're even."
Winnie's cheeks burned. She felt guilty but didn't think it was entirely her fault. About some things, it's not that easy to make it even. If I took advantage of you and then helped you without risking my own life, would you count it even?
Women drop their benefactors as soon as their help isn't required. That's why I don't like women.
Jeffrey wore a grim look and said,
"Do I have to let you take advantage of me to make it even? But you don't have what men have, do you?"
"You are shameless!" Winnie's face reddened. "I'm not asking you to like me. Besides, even though what I told your sister was a lie, it's still better than telling her that her brother is an indecent man, right? Haven't you heard about all those perverts who harass women on the subway? I could have called the police. You elevator pervert!" Jeffrey glared at her. He felt deeply humiliated. She compared him to those disgusting people.
"Would a pervert save you? The guy who attacked you yesterday was a pervert."
Jeffrey felt annoyed as well about what happened yesterday in the elevator. He had done deep research online but didn't find a detailed explanation.
"I didn't have that kind of intention toward you. Yesterday was an accident. I am a healthy man. I believe that any healthy man wouldn't be able to control himself in that kind of situation. So please, do not defame me in front of my sister. If you insist, I'd have no choice but to tell her that you were probably trying to seduce me."
"What did you say?" Winnie couldn't believe it.
"Am I wrong? Yesterday we were good at first, yet you suddenly turned around and pressed your hip against me," Jeffrey said coldly. "It was exactly your movement that caused my problem."
"I did that because I didn't want to lean on your chest. You are the most shameless person I've ever met." Winnie never felt so annoyed and was never slandered like that. Her eyes turned slightly red as she continued saying, "You're even more disgusting than the man who attacked me yesterday." As she turned and left, Jeffrey looked at her back and frowned. He was surprised by how vulnerable she was. Her eyes even turned red.
"Forget it. I'll stay away from her," he told himself. "I can't afford to offend women."
8 o'clock. A small figure blocked Jeffrey's way once he entered the school. "Hi, I brought you breakfast." Ella stood before him with a sweet smile. "That place has the best breakfast in town. Try it."
"I'm not interested."
Jeffrey turned to avoid her and kept walking forward. "Just try it." Ella hurriedly followed behind him. "I'm sure you'll want more once you try it. I got up at 6 in the morning, then traveled across half the city and waited in line to get this for you."
"Are you trying to tell me how much you've done for me to make me feel touched so that I'll be with you?"
Jeffrey abruptly stopped walking and looked her straight in the eyes. The look in his eyes was ice cold. Ella's smile froze on her face. "I'm not. I just bought some delicious food for you. I want you to try it. I'll be happy if you ate it."
"I'm not happy. In this world, no food is for free. If I ate your food today, you'd want me to give you something in return tomorrow."
"It's not like that."
"Hypocritical," Jeffrey continued blandly saying. "If you want to be with me, you need to know if you're good enough for me. Learn from your sister. She's a famous lawyer. What are you?"
As he finished talking, he turned and left, completely ignoring Ella, who was about to burst into tears. "Even if I'm not good enough for you, I like you with my whole heart," Ella yelled behind him. Jeffrey was too lazy to respond. His classmate, Austin, walked over to him and said,
"You are cruel. Ella is a pretty one among the new students in the acting department. Many boys like her. Am I so low that I can only match with someone like that?"
Jeffrey looked at him expressionlessly. Jeffrey believed that no woman could match his face and talent. Jeffrey had walked into the canteen with Austin when his eyes fell on Winnie, who was sitting by the window with two of her other classmates. He looked away and grabbed his breakfast. Then, without waiting for Austin, he scurried to the seat closest to the window.
Do you see that girl? It's Winnie from the music faculty, Austin said softly. She's famous now. She is the prettiest girl in the faculty now.
Jeffrey ate in silence. She looked natural, but she was just too much of a gossip monger, a petty woman, and not to mention someone who liked to rat on others.
I tried to court her last year.
Austin laughed with embarrassment.
She rejected me, though. She said that she had a boyfriend. I heard she's single now, but I don't think I'll try again. With her talent, she could easily become the next pop queen.
Jeffrey looked at him incredulously.
Don't lower your standards to a pop queen, okay?
Really? Austin was serious.
You haven't heard her sing before, have you? She has a broad range. She handles her high notes really well, and she switches between octaves seamlessly. Oh, and she writes her own songs. You know that super popular song, When the Smoke Clears? She wrote that herself. I heard it was an ode to her first love.
Jeffrey asked,
Was she together with her first love for a long time? I heard she had a boyfriend even before she came to Lang for college. No one knows who he was, though. We all thought she made it up to dissuade her pursuers.
Austin sighed.
I can tell from her sorrowful lyrics that she once loved someone very deeply, though. I'm full now.
Jeffrey stood up.
Hey, wait for me.
Over the next few days, Jeffrey and Winnie avoided one another. April felt bad things turned out this way because of her. Luckily, Winnie was out of the house a lot because of her busy schedule. April didn't have any classes that day, so Aaron accompanied her for a checkup. You stay with Jeffrey now, so do you think you can patch things up between him and Winnie?
Why do I feel like you're playing a matchmaker now?
Aaron was unhappy that April was talking about Jeffrey all the time. Who are you calling a matchmaker? April glared at him. Winnie and Jeffrey would never have that kind of relationship.
Since they won't develop any romantic feelings for each other, what are you so worried about?
Aaron asked in annoyance.
They weren't friends or family to begin with. They are just neighbors. Winnie's career is really taking off now, so I'm guessing that she will be moving away after graduating this semester. She will be flying all over, so she might not even have time to meet you, not to mention your little brother.
April was shocked. He made sense.
All right, if you have so much spare energy, why don't you spend some time thinking about our wedding? We're getting married in half a month, Aaron said. Do you still remember that?
Oh, how time flies by. April was nervous just thinking about it. She felt like she was getting cold feet before the wedding.
You haven't been thinking about it, I'm guessing, Aaron said unhappily.
At the hospital, April was lying on the examination bed ready for her ultrasound. She was already 5 months pregnant, but it was hard to make out her baby bump with her clothes covering it. Aaron made special arrangements for the hospital director to be present. Aaron requested for a 4D scan that day. He desperately wanted to see the baby's face. However, the baby wasn't cooperating. Its arms and feet were obscuring the image of its face. The doctor told April to eat more chocolate and climb some stairs. After about an hour, the baby's face was still covered. After climbing multiple flights of stairs that evening, they finally saw a partial glimpse of the baby's face. By then, April was panting with exhaustion. Aaron was frustrated.
Our little princess isn't cooperating at all.
Princess? The doctor was surprised at what Aaron said. Aaron saw the doctor frown. Don't tell me it's a baby boy, April said timidly. The doctor found it hard to control her laughter. The hospital director had informed her that the Bennetts were important. She had thought they were the hospital director's relatives, and so she nodded her head happily. Aaron stood up abruptly and pulled her to stand as well.
Impossible! Are you seeing it wrong? Did you mistake the umbilical cord as a little penis?
The doctor's face was dark. I wouldn't be qualified as a doctor if I can't differentiate between that. It's a baby boy.
Nonsense!
Blood was rushing to Aaron's head.
Where's the penis? I can't see anything.
You're not a professional. The doctor frowned. Anyway, let me get a colored scan report for you, although the pictures might not be so clear. Aaron still couldn't believe his ears. He was still standing, frozen in a spot.
I don't understand. It was supposed to be a baby girl. How did it turn into a baby boy?
He was deeply affected, as if someone had rained on his parade. Who said it was a girl? The doctor was confused. Aaron said,
I thought it was a girl.
April took the news much better than Aaron. It was still her child after all. Although a girl would be nice, boys were cute in their own way. It would only be problematic if her boy turned out like Aaron. This is your baby's photo. The doctor handed them the photo. Aaron snatched it and took a closer look. He didn't know how to interpret the photograph. You need to orient yourself. These are the eyes and this is the nose, the doctor said. Part of his face is covered.
So ugly,
Aaron commented and handed the photo over to April. April rolled her eyes at him and took a good look at the photograph. She felt warm and content. I think our baby is rather cute. Thank you, doctor. Aaron's mood had turned rotten. He was in a foul mood on the way home as well. Sylvia waited for the two of them at the villa.
What's wrong? You went to the doctor, right? Is anything wrong with the baby?
She asked, feeling her brother's mood. Nope. April shook her head helplessly. The doctor just told us that it was a baby boy.
Oh, God.
Sylvia inhaled sharply. I don't want a nephew. What if he's annoying like Aaron? April didn't know what to say. She suddenly started feeling sorry for her baby. She rubbed her belly, sat on the couch and said, That won't happen. Our baby will surely be as smart and as adorable as me.
He can be as adorable as you. As for smart?
Aaron gave her a look that implied he didn't agree. Kenneth nodded to agree with him.
In terms of intelligence, I hope the baby won't be like April.
April found their words hurtful. Am I not smart? I can memorize pretty much anything I read, and I'm good at acting.
You're easily fooled by men,
Aaron said before she could finish speaking. April didn't respond. That was the dark history that will follow her everywhere. April, ignore them. Sylvia patted her shoulder with pity and said, I have only one wish. I wish the baby won't be like my brother. No, he won't, April said, trying to comfort her. Sylvia, it's been a long time. What brought you here today? I have a lot of time. I just sit in the office every single day. Sylvia glared at Aaron. Did you talk to my superiors? I've worked there for over a month. They sometimes give me cases that are over 10 years old, and sometimes make me look for documents. Those documents almost blinded me. Any case that requires field work has nothing to do with me.
Isn't that good? Aaron asked with indifference. Do you really want to go undercover and work on those cases or catch drug dealers? How many people can you really catch? I'm afraid that you'd be hindering the rest of the team in the field.
Sylvia couldn't help but stand and rile up. Don't underestimate me. I solved cases back at my old police station.
Those were only small cases, Aaron replied. Your superior arranged them for you for a reason. All right, let's stop here. Don't argue with me. I'm in a bad mood now.
Aaron went upstairs with a cold face. Sylvia was irritated. She picked up her bag and headed out. April followed her to the door. Stay for dinner. I'm not in the mood to eat, Sylvia said and stormed out of the room. April sighed. It was inappropriate for her to talk to Aaron about Sylvia's work. Besides, she didn't want Sylvia to work with those dangerous cases anyway. Sylvia unhappily returned to the police station. While she was browsing some files about an old case, her colleague, Lenny Lynn, came over and said, Stop reading that. Director has important work for us. It'll have nothing to do with me anyway, Sylvia replied. She was clearly agitated. I never get to go out to carry a mission. Don't say that, Lenny said. Do you think that's a good thing? We're doing a dangerous job. Every year, some of our colleagues are sacrificed. Young lady, you just don't understand. He poked her head and said, Let's go. The two of them walked to the door of the conference room. Jeremy walked in with a few of his colleagues. He was wearing a black suit, which couldn't hide his perfect body shape. Sylvia glanced at him. She turned and walked into the conference room. After looking around, she found herself a seat in the corner. Lenny sat beside her and whispered, Oi,
I heard that Jeremy Carter is your ex-fiancé. Why did you break up with such a manly and handsome man? I've heard that quite a few girls are interested in him. That's reasonable, though. He's tall and handsome and has a good family background. Besides, he was a special forces officer. I heard that he played an important role in that cross-border fraud they solved.
Sylvia was not happy to hear that news, but remained calm. No matter how capable he is, we were not a good match. After all, marriage is not like a job.
You're right, though.
While they were talking, Jeremy walked over and sat next to Sylvia. She lowered her head, pretending to look at her phone. Jeremy glanced at her phone and said,
Aaron told me that they were having a boy.
I don't want to talk about Aaron, please, Sylvia replied. She opened her social media and saw Aaron declaring the gender of his child to the world.
I thought I'd have an adorable little princess, but it turns out to be a little devil. There were already several comments.
Caitlin, he won't be a little devil as long as he's not like you.
David, I need to calm myself.
Richard,
whoa, haha, congratulations.
April, I'm warning you. Do not say bad things about my cute little baby. A faint smile appeared on Sylvia's face.
Do you like boys or girls?
Jeremy asked. Why would I talk to you about that? Sylvia retorted.
Because, even if we can't be lovers, we can still be friends, he said. We grew up together after all. Do we have to become enemies? There is no deep hatred between us.
Sylvia didn't know what to say. There was no deep hatred, however. She couldn't pretend that nothing had happened and be friends with him. Perhaps it was because she used to care so much about him.
Besides, we are colleagues now, he said. Although we are on different teams, we might still need to work together. Might be bad for work if we treat each other like enemies.
Sylvia sourly said, I'm sorry. I don't think I'll ever have a chance to work with you since I'm someone who often sits in the office reading old cases. Jeremy didn't know how to respond. Soon, almost all the seats in the conference room were taken. Sergeant Brown went to the front of the room.
Is everybody here? I summoned you all to announce something important. Next week, an international conference on quantum physics will take place in Paris. All the best physicists in the world will be there. Last year, a scientist has come to work on a project in our Rosewood City. He will attend the conference. The authorities want us to send a few people to go to Paris with him to protect him.
Once the director had finished talking, the people in the conference room started talking. Special cases like this rarely happened in Rosewood City. People didn't even know that important scientists came to the city. Sergeant Brown continued,
I know that all of you want to go. After all, Paris is a famous romantic spot. However, I need to make it clear to you all, this is a very important mission. It's even related to the process of psionic development in certain spheres. Simply speaking, no accidents are allowed to happen to that man. Sergeant, can I ask who the person is?
A police officer asked. Sergeant Brown nodded. He ordered a police officer to open the files about the scientist. Soon, the files were displayed on the large screen.
Jack Kipling, 29 years old, Sergeant Brown said. This man has shown great talents in physics since he was a child. You may not know about him since he has been working on some secret projects. He's been very low-key. You might have heard about his parents, though. They are Adam Tremblay, the famous astronomer, and Rosaria Kipling, the biologist.
Oh, I've heard of them, someone added. Aren't they a family of scientists? Damn, genetics do matter after all. The whole family is in the field of science. He's so amazing and he's so young. Sergeant Brown smiled.
Yes, they are a family of scientists. Their grandfather studied overseas back then as well. He was the first batch of scientists to build our country. Jack Kipling is not only just a physicist, he is an astrophysicist. I can't divulge too many secrets, but I can tell you he had some breakthroughs with his research and nothing must happen to him. I understand, Sergeant. I'm willing to step forward to protect him.
Samuel Pitt from Team 1 stood up immediately.
Yup, Samuel is the most agile and capable officer in the police force.
Sergeant Brown nodded with satisfaction. I want to go too. Sylvia raised her hand quickly. I can do this. Sergeant Brown looked.
Sylvia, you are too young and your body physique is a little...
Sylvia said stubbornly. Jack Kipling is a man. I think there should be a female officer there who is more attentive to the details. Communication would be easier as well. After all, a man and woman are a heavenly match. The crowd burst into laughter. Sergeant Brown laughed as well.
Don't treat me like a fool. Men and women as partners spell trouble.
Sylvia scratched her head. Anyway, a woman is better at coordinating. Sergeant Brown nodded his head.
That's true. Sergeant, I want to go too.
Jeremy suddenly stood up.
I think I am the most agile here. Although you are the best, we are teaming up with the police force from another state to crack down on a case of drug trafficking. You are in charge of the case, so I don't think you should leave your position now. This is a crucial moment.
The sergeant then picked 4 people other than Jeremy. Sergeant Brown, why didn't you mention my name? Sylvia protested again, saying, You seemed to approve of me earlier.
Yup, so I'm sending Anna Parker. She's much more experienced than you. All right, we'll end this meeting here.
The director clapped his hands. Sylvia was going to faint from frustration. Jeremy said to her,
It's good that you're not going. It's too dangerous.
Dangerous? If I'm going to stay away from danger, why am I here? Sylvia was annoyed. Jeremy frowned.
Sylvia, I think you need to correct your mindset at the moment. Although your job seems dry and mundane, you should do it with 100% of your effort. Every job has its own meaning and purpose. If you're constantly thinking about putting yourself in the forefront, I have to be honest with you. Your mindset is not suited for field work.
Sylvia's chest was heaving with anger. She knew these things, but she couldn't stand taking a lecture from Jeremy.
Think about it yourself.
Jeremy looked at her helplessly and walked away.
Sylvia, don't think too much about it. Jeremy has a point. This is no ordinary person we're protecting.
Lenny said. Okay. Sylvia nodded her head. She wasn't an unreasonable person. She was just passionate when she volunteered herself, and honestly, she admired the family of scientists. Back in the office, Sylvia couldn't contain her curiosity. She looked up Jack Kipling on the internet. There was barely any information about him. In the afternoon, she found out that Anna, Brandon, and the rest of the officers had already gone over to Jack Kipling's. She didn't hear about anything else and went home around 6 o'clock. The next morning, her colleagues were huddled up in a discussion. Anna Parker, who was about to leave for Paris, was there as well. She looked dejected. When Sylvia walked over, her teammate Timothy said,
Anna didn't pass the test yesterday. Jack Kipling insisted on swapping for someone else.
Why? Sylvia was surprised. Anna Parker sighed. He said that my name was too tacky. Was he choosing his bodyguards or choosing names? I met him yesterday. He was really so handsome, Anna Parker said. He even made me, a 30-year-old woman's heart, flutter. It's a good thing I'm not going. I'm worried that I might fall in love with him if I go to Paris. It would jeopardize my marriage. Everyone was silent. I wonder who can fill in, though, Sylvia muttered. It wasn't going to be her, anyway. She sat down at her desk, but not for long. The sergeant had asked for her at his office. Sergeant Brown, do you need me to do anything? Sylvia walked in to see Clyde Mason, Axel Welsh, and Carlo Peralta seated in the office. Sergeant Brown looked at her strangely.
Sylvia, do you know Jack Kipling?
Nope. Sylvia was puzzled. I would have gone around showing off if I knew someone so amazing. Why do you ask? Sergeant Brown replied.
Jack Kipling said that he wanted to swap you for Anna Parker. Since he requested it himself, I said yes.
Sylvia was stunned. For what reason?
He said your name sounds a lot nicer.
Did she have to thank David, who named her, for this? He had finally done something right for her in his lifetime.
Forget it. You can go there since he wants you to be there. There might not be any danger there anyway.
Sergeant Brown stood up.
Go fetch your passport and send it as soon as possible to the administration's department for processing.
Oh, okay. Sylvia quickly saluted the director. Within an hour, news that Sylvia replaced Anna Parker had spread around the station. Jeremy had heard about it as well and visited Sylvia's office in the afternoon. His expression was grim. If you're here to persuade me to not go, or if you think I'm not qualified enough to go, I can tell you that he had picked me himself, Sylvia said. Jeremy was quiet. He only said, "I'm just here to remind you to be careful." Sylvia was surprised and she didn't say anything in return. The silence between the two of them was broken by Aaron's phone call.
"Who said that you could go?"
"Brother, don't worry about me. I'm an adult now and I will be careful over there." Sylvia hung up the phone promptly. Aaron was frustrated and called David.
"Did you hear about Jack Kipling? How come I've never heard of this man before?"
David replied,
"Forget it. Let her go. It shouldn't be too much danger. His research is not well known to the public. We can't take care of her for the rest of her life. If she really wants to fly there, we will have to let her go, just as long as we're around to protect her."
The next day, Sylvia, Clyde, and 2 other police officers headed to Jack Kipling's Research Institute. Before leaving, they needed to learn about the detailed schedule and the security arrangement from Jack Kipling's people. The research institution was an hour away. Sylvia found the institution belonged to the area which was under the administration of her old police station. It was a very old physics research institution in Rosewood City. Sylvia had never been there before. After entering the place, she found the institution was fully equipped, even though it looked very old and worn out on the outside. However, she felt a little chilly while walking in. "Over there is the research area. Officers, please wait here," said the person who guided them in. The 4 of them waited there, feeling a little bored. Sylvia couldn't help but look around. She noticed a group photo on the wall. While closely looking at the photo, she found a young man in the photo, looking very outstanding among the middle-aged and elderly researchers. Seeing the clean and pretty face, Sylvia was stunned. The young man looked so much like the one that she brought back to her place, but she didn't remember his name. "He's a scientist?" Sylvia thought. "I wouldn't know. He's so young and gawky. He really doesn't look like a scientist. Also, he looks younger than 29. However, according to Anna Parker, he was handsome. Among all in the photo, he was the only handsome one.
"We're sorry for making you wait."
Abruptly, 2 men walked out. One of them looked polite and elegant, and the other one looked super strong. Seeing them, Sylvia's eyes widened in shock. Weren't they the people who showed up every time to pick up the young man?
"Good to meet you. My family's name is Maxwell. I've been taking care of Mr. Kipling since he was a child. This time we will go to Paris with you. This is Christopher Zeppelin from the Special Force. He started to work for Mr. Kipling since the project achieved major progress."
Mr. Maxwell introduced himself and his partner. Sylvia walked to him with surprise and said, "Mr. Kipling is not—"
"Yes, he is."
Mr. Maxwell smiled and nodded. Sylvia was so shocked that she didn't know what to say.
"Do you know each other?"
Clyde asked. Mr. Maxwell smiled and answered the question.
"Miss Bennett used to work in the police station in this area. She found Mr. Kipling a couple of times when he was lost. Mr. Kipling is terrible with directions."
"So this time Mr. Kipling asked for—"
"No, I did,"
said Mr. Maxwell.
"Mr. Kipling is a lonely person. He doesn't like to talk either. This time you need to guard him closely for a week. I think it'll be better for him to stay with someone that he's familiar with. I can't make it clear to you now, but I believe Miss Bennett understands it deeply."
The other 3 police officers all turned to Sylvia. Sylvia nodded with a bitter smile. Carlo nodded and said,
"I understand. Scientists stay indoors and work on science every day. They have a strange character sometimes. Mr. Kipling is working. Now let's talk about the schedule,"
said Mr. Maxwell. The others nodded. After the briefing, the 4 police officers were relieved. Except for some necessary events, Jack Kipling would mostly stay in the hotel. The schedule made people worry less. The most terrible thing would be that the people who were clearly aware they were in danger would still like to run about.
Among the four of you, I want Miss Bennet to be by Mr. Kipling's side at all times, Mr. Maxwell said. Everyone was stunned. They were all peculiarly looking at Sylvia. Clyde, being the most experienced among them, grimaced. Mr. Maxwell, I know that Sylvia's pretty, but this is concerning his safety. You won't understand even if I explain it to you. I think you will understand this arrangement once you meet Mr. Kipling. Mr. Kipling will also be accompanied by Christian. I don't believe there is a cause for concern, Mr. Maxwell said. Clyde frowned, but he didn't protest any further. You can all head back. Come along with me, Miss Bennet. I will bring you to Mr. Kipling now, and I'll arrange for a car to send you back later, Mr. Maxwell said as he walked further in. Go along. Clyde nodded his head. After Sylvia left them, Axel whispered, Who said Mr. Kipling was an antisocial man? He's trying to get close to Sylvia because of how pretty she is. He's probably a pervert. Enough. That's enough. Axel didn't expect the reverberation in the room to be so strong. Sylvia could hear every word he said. She frowned. Can't you swap me out? It's more convenient for a policeman to stay by his side. And I was added to the team last minute as well. This might create some misunderstanding, she said to Mr. Maxwell when her colleagues were out of sight. I can swap Axel if you like. It might be better for the team dynamic. Mr. Maxwell heard their conversation as well. There were dark lines on Sylvia's forehead. I would be his enemy for the rest of my life. He is in the top 5 at our station in terms of capabilities. If you swap him out, there isn't anyone who could replace him. Besides, Mr. Kipling's safety is the priority here. Seems like we made the right choice picking you, Miss Bennet. Mr. Maxwell laughed as he opened the door. Sylvia walked into the room and saw various complex machines. She had no idea what she was looking at. The ceiling was a painted mural of the galaxy. A man stood in front of an intimidating machine, dressed in a white laboratory coat and wearing a thick pair of glasses. You could only see his thick ginger hair and his sculptured physique from the side. There was a ray of light shining on him, and it seemed like he was emitting an aura. He looked clean, pure, and wonderful. Sylvia was stunned. She felt unfamiliar, as if it was her first time meeting him. He was different from the man who sat in a daze at her police station. She had originally thought that he was younger than her, but he was 29. Nonetheless, he looked youthful. Mister, look who's here, Mr. Maxwell reminded him gently. The man was standing still. He looked frozen in his spot. He was completely submerged in his own universe. Even the way he was in a trance was attractive. She waited for 10 minutes before he finally made a move. He turned to look at her and was a little stunned when he saw the two of them in the lab. Through the thick glasses, Sylvia could see his innocent eyes light up with joy. Through the thick, Sylvia felt that he was looking at her in the exact same way her dog Richard had always looked at her. He was so adorable, like a puppy, but today he was a puppy with glasses. The puppy walked to her, his eyes glowing brightly. He started to take out a sticky note from his pocket, which was always with him. He wrote, "I'm not lost today." Sylvia smiled. "How can you be lost today? You didn't even go out." Jack paused. His eyes showed a very confused look. A short while later, he finally remembered where he was. He lowered his head and started to write. "Are you here for me?" Sylvia was speechless and turned to Mr. Maxwell. On her way here, she was thinking that it was probably Jack who asked for her to come and that Mr. Maxwell was covering for him.
Now she realized that she was overthinking. After all, she believed she was so pretty and outstanding, people might think of her as special.
She is one of the police officers who will be protecting you in Paris when you attend the meeting, Mr. Maxwell said. There are 3 other officers. She will be your bodyguard.
Before he finished, Jack nodded deeply. His snow-white, delicate face wore an innocent smile that could melt people's hearts. Sylvia asked, "Are you sure that you don't want to meet the other police officers? They are all better than me." Jack shook his head, writing, "You were good." Sylvia was delighted. She was hardly ever praised like that. Jack continued writing, "I like you." Sylvia didn't know how to respond. She considered herself a thick-skinned person, yet her face reddened immediately. She understood that Jack was expressing a pure fondness, which had nothing to do with a relationship between a man and a woman. "Thank you. I'll see you then. I'm going to leave now," Sylvia said to Mr. Maxwell. She felt that it was about time to leave. Before Mr. Maxwell responded, a note was pushed in her sight. "Eat lunch." Mr. Maxwell saw it too and said, "It's about lunchtime, so stay for lunch. You and Mr. Kipling haven't seen each other for long." Sylvia looked at the time, then nodded. Jack took off the white coat, then went to wash his hands. He washed every finger very carefully with hand soap. Sylvia glanced at his large table. A celestial map was on it. Mr. Maxwell explained, "Mr. Kipling likes astronomy very much. He always says there are aliens in the universe." Sylvia gave a bitter smile. In her eyes, Jack was an alien himself. Why didn't he become an astronomer then? He might have a chance to go to outer space and take a look.
He didn't meet the physical requirements.
Mr. Maxwell shook his head. At that moment, Jack walked over with his hands washed. He seemed to be in a very good mood. He waved at Sylvia, then led the way. Sylvia followed behind him. After about 2 minutes of walking, they arrived at dinner. The place was all white, looking like a laboratory. Seeing her frown, Mr. Maxwell said,
"Mr. Kipling grew up in places like this. He was in labs all year long. His parents worked on their projects and I took care of him."
Sylvia understood. Somehow, she felt some sympathy for Jack. Before, she always felt that he was unacceptably weird and even wondered what kind of environment could foster a person like him. Now, she understood it all. What was she doing when she was a child? She was happily monkeying around with her friends. Sylvia was flattered. He knew how to be polite. She took her seat at the table and Jack sat down beside her. They barely had to wait before the kitchen staff served their food. It was a plate of vegetables and green beans. The chef then brought them 2 plates of mashed potatoes. Jack handed her a pair, a fork and a knife. Sylvia was a little surprised as he quickly dug into the food. She waited a while for the chef to leave them, wondering if he was going back to the kitchen to get more food. Sylvia was still stunned when she asked Mr. Maxwell, "That's all he eats?"
"Our Mr. doesn't like meat," Mr. Maxwell said helplessly. "Madam Kipling is a vegetarian as well. He's been used to this diet since he was young."
Damn, he didn't even eat meat? Why didn't he feel bad about inviting guests? When Jack realized that she wasn't eating, he wrote on his notepad, "It's good." As if! How could she enjoy a meal with just vegetables?
"If you don't like the food, I can ask the kitchen to prepare some meat. Christian and I still enjoy our fair share of meat," Mr. Maxwell said.
Okay. Sylvia nodded her head. She waited for her food quietly. Jack looked at her for a while before continuing to eat. He wasn't too pleased, though. It was the first time he invited a guest and she wasn't enjoying his food. Greens and peas were delicious. After he had his lunch, the chef brought over a small plate of stir-fried pork. It smelled heavenly. Sylvia finally looked satisfied. Jack was staring at her silently. He didn't understand why she would like something as unpalatable as pork. Sylvia thought he wanted to try some, so she picked up a piece of pork and put it on his plate. Jack frowned. Sylvia thought he was a clean freak and didn't like anyone putting food on his plate, so she quickly went back to eating. He moved his lips and she heard his high, raspy voice saying, "Pork is high in fat content as well as cholesterol." Sylvia knew that he was going to go on about his lectures on academic matters, so she quickly stuffed his mouth with another piece of pork to silence him. Jack's eyes widened and he appeared to be in shock. Sylvia thought he was about to vomit, so she quickly covered his mouth. It's not good to overeat meat, but our bodies still need meat for the source of protein and calcium. Otherwise, we would be malnourished and have osteoporosis, anemia. Jack could only see her lips move, but he couldn't hear anything she was saying. He felt her hands on his lips. It was soft, warm, and it smelt good. He couldn't help but chew on the meat and swallow it. Mr. Maxwell's jaw dropped. It was extremely difficult to try to get Jack to eat meat in the past. It was as if it would kill him and he thought he was going to get angry. Who knew? The taste is good, isn't it? Sylvia finally removed her hand after he swallowed the piece of pork. Jack paused to think for a moment before nodding his head. Sylvia put another piece of meat in his bowl. Jack hesitated before picking it up and putting it in his mouth. He frowned again and quickly spat it out. "What's the matter?" Sylvia was also eating. The meat tasted delicious, although it was still missing Sister Emily's signature flavor. Jack was quiet for a while before he wrote, "It tastes better when you feed me." He pushed the bowl of meat to her, then moved his chair closer. He looked exactly like her adorable dog, waiting for her to feed him. Sylvia tried the meat herself, then put another piece of meat into his mouth. Jack lowered his head and ate the meat. After that, he looked at her with a smile of satisfaction. Sylvia was speechless. Is he playing dumb? She thought. Eat by yourself. First, I'm not your servant. Second, you're not my dog. Third, you're not my boyfriend, she said with a straight face. Jack paused, thought for a few seconds, then wrote, "I'll be your boyfriend." He felt the first two weren't likely to happen, so the third one was his only choice. Sylvia didn't know what to say. Really? He wants to devote himself so he can eat meat? Mr. Maxwell quietly put a hand on his forehead. For the very first time, he found that Jack was rather shameless. "I'm sorry, I have no interest in you," Sylvia said through clenched teeth. Jack dropped his head as if he had suffered severe harm. Sylvia stopped talking to him and quickly finished her lunch. Once again, a note was handed to her. "I'll be nice to you. I'll give you my credit card." Sylvia nearly spat out the rice in her mouth. She should be proud, as a famous scientist was pursuing her. At the very least, it would be a good story to tell her grandchildren. However, the reason why he pursued her was bizarre. And to top it off, she was surprised that Jack offered to give her his credit card. Only people in love can be together. We've only seen each other a few times, and now you're telling me that you want to be my boyfriend? Stop joking. A relationship is a serious thing. It's not like two people just simply live together, she said seriously. She couldn't stand being with a man who would communicate with sticky notes every day. She would go mad. "Listen," she said. "I like talking. I like noisy places, and I like meat. I like delicious food from all over the world. We're not from the same world." After saying that, Sylvia ignored his reaction and quickly finished the food on her plate. "Thank you for the lunch. I'm going back to the police station. Mr. Maxwell, can you please find me a ride?" "Yeah, sure." Jack immediately stood up with his eyebrows knitted. He wanted her to stay but didn't know how to ask her. With no other choice, he tugged on her sleeve. "I need to work. We'll leave the next Monday for Paris and I'll be here a day before that with my colleagues. See you then." Looking at Jack's pitiful face, Sylvia nearly reached out a hand to rub his hair. After she was finished talking, Sylvia headed toward the exit. Jack followed closely behind her. While walking, Mr. Maxwell called the chauffeur. By the door, the chauffeur drove the car over. Before Sylvia got in the car, a note was put in her hand. Sylvia read the note. "Come early. I'll buy you meat." Jack's black and innocent eyes were filled with expectation. Sylvia smiled and felt a warmness in her heart. "I like beef. Get some beef for me." She got into the car, smiling. Jack fixed his eyes on the car as it left until Mr. Maxwell patted him on the shoulder and asked him, "Mr. Kipling, do you like Miss Bennet?" Jack nodded with a smile, then abruptly said in a deep voice,
"Go buy some beef. She likes beef."
"All right." Mr. Maxwell nodded and responded smilingly. "Paris has a lot of beef. Mr. Kipling, you can take Miss Bennet to a steak place in Paris. She'll like it." Jack's eyes lit up. He quickly wrote,
"How many days till Monday?"
3 days. Jack wrote,
"It's so far away."
he was someone who could spend an entire week in the lab without leaving. But now, he was complaining that 3 days was too long a wait. He knew that Sylvia would be with him throughout. He also knew that she might have questions of her own. Back at the police station, Sylvia found that everyone was looking at her oddly. She was confused and decided to go to Team B's office. It was their afternoon break and her colleagues had stayed back to talk to each other. When she approached them, Lenny, who was the closest to her, teased,
"Our flower has finally returned. I thought you were going to stay at the great scientist place a while longer."
Sylvia was astonished. "I came back after greeting him."
"Huh."
Everyone was nodding. Anna was smiling.
"I was still wondering why he swapped me out and came up with a ridiculous excuse that my name sounded tacky."
"I guess he had someone in mind and he wanted to get closer to that person. Mr. Kipling has great taste. He picked the prettiest one at our station. Jack didn't even know about me. His assistant was the one who made the call. He thinks it would be better for me to protect him since I know him," Sylvia answered.
"All right, no need to get so defensive."
Anna smirked. "I'm not a petty person. You could have just told me that you already knew Mr. Kipling." Timothy nodded as well.
"We're all from the same team. We would have supported you. In fact, I think you're awesome. How do you know someone so incredible? You're so low-key about it as well. But don't be preoccupied with dating when you're in Paris. We can't afford to shoulder the responsibility if something happens to Mr. Kipling there."
Sylvia frowned. She did not expect to see the stalker back at the laboratory again. He had crossed her paths twice and had successfully managed to piss off her father and brother. She had her share of doubts when a bewildered David suddenly asked her to stay away from him. Even the name Benjamin or Jimmy were aliases, but she did not care much about him. She had finally gotten the assignment she wanted.
Sergeant Brown values this mission a lot."
Sylvia was uncomfortable hearing them. They made it sound like she had made special arrangements with Jack to replace Anna. It would tarnish his reputation as a serious scientist. It wasn't good to be gossiped about like this. Although he had said several suggestive things today, she knew better than anyone that he was a clean slate when it came to relationships. "Where did you hear all of this from?" Sylvia looked at them coldly. After exchanging looks with one another, Anna said, "Alex told us this. There's no need to be upset. Like we've told you, we're not blaming you for anything." She quickly turned and walked to Team A's office. When she got there, Alex was still telling his fellow colleagues the same thing.
"I finally understand why our captain posted her to stay in the office. Can she crack a case based on her looks?"
His colleagues spotted Sylvia first and their expressions changed. They quickly reminded him,
"All right, that's enough. Sylvia was promoted here from a neighborhood police post. Everyone knows how she was transferred here,"
Alex said coldly.
"Look at how many years I spent toiling. How could she have made it here at such a young age? She must use her family connections to get where she wants."
I was promoted at such a young age because I had already spent 3 years at the police station. I've worked hard for this place. I do everything, from the investigation to the filing and paperwork, by myself, Sylvia said suddenly. Alex turned to look at her, and his expression froze. Sylvia laughed coldly, saying, "Alex, I used to respect you because you've managed to crack several cases. I thought you did your job well, but I think I might have been wrong. Since you think I'm only here because of my looks, let's duel. I'll show you my capabilities." As she finished talking, everyone in the office gasped in shock. Alex looked at her as if she had just told a joke.
Little girl, I don't care about your family background. You're no match for me. Just leave.
His arrogance made Sylvia so angry that she was trembling. As police officers, we should be humble and cautious. Don't you know that? If you don't know about me, why do you think you can look down on me? As a man, you started a rumor behind my back. How shameless are you? I won't argue anymore with you. I'll let you see if I'm qualified for the job or not. If it turns out that I'm not good enough, I'll give up Jack Kipling's case. If I win, you'll apologize to me in front of our colleagues.
Sylvia, stop joking.
Clyde frowned.
Alex's combat skills are at least in the top 3 in our station. His shooting results ranked number 2 last year. You can't win.
I don't have to win. I may not be a match for him, but I only want him to know that I didn't pull strings to get this job. Sylvia looked at Alex and said, You think that I'm not good enough, don't you? You think I got this job by pulling strings, right? Beat me with your abilities then. Alex nodded and said,
All right, since you insist on bringing disgrace on yourself, don't blame me. But you have promised me that if I win, you won't take revenge on me in the name of public interest. Everyone in this office is our witness.
Sure, if I take revenge on you, I'll be struck by lightning, Sylvia swore. Soon, the entire police station heard about the contest between Sylvia and Alex. In half an hour, police officers had gathered outside the shooting practice room. Clyde was the judge.
10 meters, 3 bullets. Whoever has the highest score wins. Alex, you go first.
Alex stepped forward and shot 3 bullets. The first shot scored 9.7, the second, 9.6, the third, 9.9. The police officers who were watching outside started whispering to each other. Sylvia praised him silently. However, Alex's scores had given her great pressure. Someone turned to Sylvia and asked her, Do you want to give up? Sylvia shook her head and smiled. As I've said, I don't plan to win. I'm not eager to win. I just want to prove that women aren't worse than men. Sylvia put on the shooting spectacles and shot 3 bullets in a row. The first shot scored 9.8, the second, 9.7, the third, 9.9. As her score was read, the other police officers fell into silence. Alex's eyes popped while looking at her. With regrets, Sylvia shook her head and said, I worked in the station house for too long and haven't shot for a long time. I'm totally out of practice. Clyde didn't know what to say. The scores were impressively high, yet she was not satisfied. How great was she before? Alex sneered and said,
I admit that you're good at shooting. However, police officers can't shoot people unless it's necessary. Combat skills are more important.
All right. Sylvia gave a faint smile. Next, the two of them went downstairs to the gym. The space was broad. Sylvia launched the first strike. Alex dodged it easily and made a counter-strike. The result of the shooting contest frustrated him. To win back his dignity, he attacked swiftly and accurately, with no mercy at all. Sylvia was deeply aware that she was no match for him on the terms of strength. So, she stepped further and further backward, stably and carefully, never letting him hit her.
Can't you do anything else but dodging?
Alex laughed coldly.
You're never going to catch a suspect like this.
Sylvia wasn't infuriated by his words, so she grasped an opportunity while he was talking and landed a kick on his chest. Alex was enraged and launched a series of fierce moves. Sylvia realized that she was not able to block his sidekick, so she hurriedly raised her arms to protect her face. As a result, she was sent flying back by the kick.
Alex, what are you doing?
Jeremy rushed over angrily and helped Sylvia to her feet.
I can take you on if you're looking for a fight. What kind of man are you to bully a woman?
Alex was scared. He knew how strong Jeremy was. He was a soldier from the Special Forces who spent most of his years overseas, carrying out dangerous, classified missions. He could probably be even the best fighter in the entire station.
She was the one who wanted to fight. It's a fair fight between the two of us.
Alex seethed.
Tell him what you swore. Are you going to deny it now that you've lost? Are you going to ask someone else to fight me? It's okay. I know you have a special relationship with Jeremy. When did I lose? Sylvia chuckled as she freed herself from Jeremy's grasp. Alex frowned. You're going to be a punk about it? Alex, she's right. She hasn't lost. Clyde walked over and said expressionlessly, She won at shooting, and now you've won at head-to-head combat. You two are even. Besides, how you hit her just now, she defended herself with her arms. Naturally, you are stronger than her since you are a man. That's the only reason why she fell to the floor. If we graded her fighting technique, I think it would be a close match.
He turned and gave Sylvia a thumbs up.
To be honest with you, I might have underestimated your capabilities at the beginning. I hereby apologize to you.
It's okay. Sylvia looked at Alex. I told you. You are older than me. You have 10 more years experience than I do. I was never planning on beating you. Too bad you only managed to get even with me after giving it your all.
You!
Alex's face was green now. He took a step forward. Clyde quickly stepped before him and looked at him sternly.
She is right. This was supposed to be a friendly match between colleagues, but you were vicious and you attacked her. She could have been seriously injured. She is our colleague who is going to Paris with us. I'm disappointed in you. If not for the fact that we have a shortage of manpower, I would have asked for you to be transferred away immediately. You don't have a shred of team spirit. Clyde! Alex shouted with widened eyes. You were trying to beat a woman. There's nothing to be proud of. You should get back and adjust your mindset.
Clyde turned and left. Sylvia walked away as well. Her entire body ached as she slammed into the hard wooden floor earlier on.
Sylvia?
Jeremy chased after her.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm used to this since I was at the police academy. I have calluses and scrapes everywhere now, Sylvia said as she walked on.
Sylvia, Jack Kipling?
Jeremy sounded hesitant.
I heard that you two already knew each other before this. Does he fancy you?
So what if he did? Sylvia blurted out. I'm outstanding and pretty. Am I not good enough to be fancied by a scientist? Jeremy was stunned.
I don't mean it like that. I just think you should be more careful when you go to Paris. You might should keep a distance from him. Truthfully, I'm worried that he might take advantage of you when you follow him around.
So what if he takes advantage of me? If he likes me and pursues me, it's natural for me to allow it to happen. It's better than not knowing what it's like to have sex after being with you for so long, Sylvia said without feeling embarrassed. But for the sake of the baby, she didn't.
April, you're as sharp-tongued as my brother now. She kisses me every day, so she has my venom.
Aaron's voice was heard from behind her. April's face reddened. She turned around, prepared to scold him. Behind her, Aaron was in black trousers, a white jacket, and a black bow tie. He was tall and strong, and his body shape was as perfect as a statue. Coupled with his handsome face and his dashing smile, he was emitting a royal aura. He looked like what Prince Charming would look like in real life. Although April saw him every day, she had rarely seen him in a white suit. Her heart fluttered.
Am I handsome?
Aaron was looking at her seductively. He wanted to hear it from her even though he already knew the answer. She was too embarrassed to say it out loud with everyone there. You are. You are the most handsome one of them all, Sylvia said quickly. She had goosebumps all over watching her brother fish for compliments like that.
I don't want to hear your answer.
Aaron was still staring at April passionately. April lowered her head and cleared her throat. You look handsome. Let's order this for our wedding.
April, what about us?
Richard pushed the smug-looking Aaron aside. He stepped forward, pulling Jeffrey along with him. Richard's lips were pink and he looked clean and carefree, resembling an aloof scholar in a black suit. Jeffrey was the youngest amongst them. He was wearing a black suit too. He emitted a different aura from the other two men, less mature but more youthful. He looked like a fairy who walked out from an anime book, with two hands in his pockets, looking distracted and uninterested. The three women were stunned. The two other men were jealous when they saw the women pause to look at Jeffrey. Aaron jumped in front of him, blocking him from their view.
What's there to ogle at? He's just a prepubescent boy.
April didn't say anything, but Sylvia rolled her eyes. He's younger than the both of you. Richard looked dismayed.
That's not pleasant to hear. I have a dimple, all right. I look much younger than Aaron, at least. All right, I think I don't need groomsmen at my wedding after all. You both can head back,
Aaron said coldly. He thoroughly regretted asking the two men to be his groomsmen, especially Jeffrey. Don't joke around. Let's order the suits. It's our turn to pick a gown now. April was pulling her friends along. Aaron stood up immediately. Richard said,
Don't follow them. Let's sit and talk for a bit. Sylvia and Winnie will pick out something nice for her. No, I can't miss out on any details that have to do with the wedding and my woman.
Aaron quickly followed the girls. Sylvia nudged April enviously. Look at how well my brother treats you. I can't help but remember the time I tried on bridal gowns last year. Jeremy was late and you were with me then as well. Now I'm your bridesmaid, in the blink of an eye. Don't think about those unhappy memories. April comforted her. Winnie nodded her head. At least you've tried on wedding gowns before. I've never tried one on in my life.
Was it a competition of the biggest victim?
The gowns made April look so blissful and happy. When they were choosing one, the staff members were recommending all types to April. What do you think about this one? It's made with the most delicate and expensive fabric. It is embroidered with 50 crystals on it.
How much is it?
Aaron asked. $30,000.
It's so cheap?
Aaron was unsatisfied.
How can my woman wear something so cheap?
Actually, we have a prize gown at our boutique. Suddenly, the staff member lit up. It's just a little expensive. It cost almost $1 million.
All right, let's try on that one.
Aaron nodded his head. April sighed. I need a wedding dress that suits me, not the most expensive one. Besides, my belly is huge now. I can't fit in many of these dresses. Aaron raised his brows and responded,
You are priceless to me. In my eyes, only the most expensive dress matches you.
April didn't know what to say. She felt so sweet, as if someone just poured a jar of honey into her heart. Sylvia and Winnie glanced at each other. As two people with failed relationships, they were very jealous of April. At last, April picked up a dress that she liked. It was not expensive and matched her perfectly. When the bridesmaids picked their dresses, the shop assistant asked about their budget. Aaron replied with,
Whatever. They're not my wife anyway. The cheaper the better. I don't like spending money on other women.
Sylvia and Winnie both silently swore they would never be bridesmaids again. They worked hard for the wedding, but no one took them seriously. The three girls tried on the dresses together. From time to time, their voices were heard laughing and chatting. Richard went out to take a phone call. Aaron and Jeffrey sat on the chairs outside the fitting room. The store was quiet. Only the three girls could be heard. Wow, April! You have such huge cups now. You're larger than me many times over. I am shocked. Don't just talk about me. Look at Sylvia. I could never tell that. Wow, look at her large booty.
All right, keep your voices down.
Aaron's body suddenly started burning, and he was thinking he couldn't even cover April's breasts with both hands right then. The girl's little talk could be really dirty sometimes. Jeffrey suddenly recalled how Winnie pressed her hip against his lower abdomen in the elevator. A stream of warmth started gushing to his lower belly. He stood up and went out to smoke a cigarette. About 10 minutes later, the three girls came out. April was in an off-the-shoulder white wedding dress. The dress covered her bulging belly perfectly. In that dress, she didn't look like a pregnant lady at all.
April, you're so pretty. You're so much prettier now than before.
Aaron praised her sincerely. Brother, look at us. Sylvia stood before April. She and Winnie were both in pink dresses. Do we look good?
I'm looking at your sister-in-law.
Aaron mercilessly pushed her away.
Sylvia felt she wanted to disown her brother. Ignore him. You look good in pink, even though you're not as pretty as Winnie in that dress.
Richard laughed and comforted her. Sylvia did not want to talk to that man. She had done a lot of field work when she was working at the station house. How could her skin not be dark? Winnie smiled, blinked, then glanced at Jeffrey, who was spending time with his phone. Richard had no idea the two of them had stopped talking to each other. He tugged Jeffrey's arm and asked him,
"Which one do you think is prettier?"
Jeffrey raised his head, blandly glanced at the two girls, and then answered the question.
"Sylvia's prettier."
Winnie was not surprised. However, she was somehow uncomfortable. Richard made a joke earlier because he was close to Sylvia. Jeffrey was close with neither of them. His straightforward answer made her feel embarrassed.
"Winnie, don't mind him. People have different taste."
Richard comforted Winnie. Sylvia was cursing Richard in her head. He didn't have to drag her down just to mediate the situation. But she smiled and added, "Winnie does look nicer than me. I might look nicer in the dress if I was less tan. Thanks for your compliment. Jeffrey, I know you didn't want me to feel uncomfortable." Jeffrey replied,
"No, I was telling the truth."
Sylvia and Richard were left speechless. They wondered what grievances Winnie and Jeffrey had with each other. Winnie smiled gently. "It's okay. Everyone has a different standard of beauty." She was insinuating that Jeffrey didn't have a high standard for beauty. Jeffrey read between the lines. He could have ignored her comment, but instead added,
"Some people can only take compliments. It's not a desirable trait to have."
Winnie's cheeks turned flaming red and she shot a menacing glare at Jeffrey. Richard quickly added before things escalated,
"Jeffrey, you're a grown man. You shouldn't fight with a woman like that. You should have a broader mind."
Jeffrey frowned and walked away. Winnie turned to walk in the opposite direction. She wanted to escape from him. Sylvia tugged on April's sleeves and whispered, "What happened between your brother and Winnie? They look like a couple when they fight." April was speechless. "Like a couple? A couple of enemies, you mean? It's a long story. It's my fault anyway. You will walk with Jeffrey and Winnie will walk with Richard for the wedding." After the shopping spree, Winnie, Richard, and Jeffrey dispersed to attend their commitments for the day. Sylvia went back to the Bennett Villa with Aaron for a meal. At 5:30 p.m. "Don't fall in love with that scientist when you're in Paris. I don't approve of the two of you. Not that I don't like him. I respect people who devote themselves to science. But the truth is, I just want you to be happy. And he is someone who needs to be protected at all times. He is doing dangerous and important work. I just want you to be safe," Caitlin told Sylvia. Sylvia frowned. "Since when was I going to date him? He isn't courting me. Your dad told me." Sylvia couldn't believe her dad. He was surely trying to find an opportunity to talk to her mother. But using her for his own intentions would sooner or later cost him his daughter's trust. "Ma, I'm going on a work trip. I'm not going on a date," Sylvia said. April added, "He's so fresh and handsome. It's a treat to look at him all day." Aaron couldn't help but grunt at April and then turned his attention to Sylvia.
"I think you're going there on a romantic trip. That guy is good at hiding his intentions. He very well fooled you with his identity, didn't he?"
Sylvia was furious. They had all underestimated her ability as an officer. Sure, Jack Kipling did seem to have an undying affection for her, but she knew how to keep her relationship professional. Sylvia couldn't help but flash a fake smile at her concerned family and walk away. On Sunday, Sylvia woke up early to pack her luggage. Clyde, Alex, and Carlo awaited her downstairs. As Sylvia carried her luggage down, Clyde and Alex were sitting in the front seats of the car. Carlo helped her load her luggage and sat in the back with her. "Why are we leaving so early?" Sylvia asked. The original plan was to leave in the afternoon. Clyde had called her early in the morning at 6 to notify her regarding the change of plans. Clyde said,
"Mr. Maxwell said that Mr. Kipling was going to the lab in the afternoon and he wouldn't be able to meet us. It's only right that we catch him before he disappears behind those machines."
Sylvia nodded. Outside the physics laboratory, Jack Kipling was staring at the door while eating his oatmeal. If his mouth wasn't moving, one might think that he was a sculpture. Mr. Maxwell stood by his side and said,
"Mr. Kipling, you have to avoid staring at Miss Bennett today and greet the other officers who arrive with her. We do not want people to misunderstand the relationship between the two of you."
Jack was confused. He lowered his head to find a pen and wrote,
"Misunderstand what?"
Mr. Maxwell gave a bitter smile. He wondered when Mr. Kipling would like to start talking.
"They might think that you are fond of her, or you like her?"
Jack Kipling nodded and wrote,
"I do like her."
Mr. Maxwell smiled bitterly again and then explained,
"But it'll be inappropriate for her colleagues to know about it. Officer Bennett wasn't selected for the mission at first. The others might think she pulled strings to get the job. Last time when they came here, her colleagues misunderstood her."
Jack was confused yet again and failed to understand anything that was told to him. Mr. Maxwell sighed. For Jack Kipling, science projects were never difficult, but interpersonal relationships were a failed mission.
"Anyway, you need to listen to me. If you don't want to bring her trouble, don't stare at her."
Jack Kipling frowned with his pretty eyebrows. He wasn't happy about that, but still, he nodded. He didn't want to bring her trouble. About 10 minutes later, an off-road car was driven into the institution. Sylvia and 3 men came out of the car together. It was the first time Clyde and the other 2 police officers saw Jack so closely. According to his personal files, he was 29 years old. However, he looked only about 22. His face was delicate and his skin was snow white. In comparison, they all looked very rough. However, none of them dared to take him lightly. Instead, they all looked at him with deep admiration.
"Mr. Kipling, good to see you. My name is Clyde. I am the squad leader responsible for your safety."
Clyde walked up to shake Jack's hand. Jack was a little distracted, recalling what Mr. Maxwell had told him. He tried to focus and talk to Clyde, but still, he only heard Clyde's name and nothing else. Only when Mr. Maxwell pushed him slightly did he shake Clyde's hand, as if he had just woken up from a dream. Sylvia was surprised. Jack actually listened to someone else talking. After shaking the hands of the other police officers, he turned to Sylvia. Sylvia said to him, "We've met each other before, so I guess we don't need to shake hands." Jack didn't listen to her and reached his hand out. Sylvia had no choice but to shake it. After a few seconds of handshaking, Sylvia tried to pull away. However, she found that she couldn't. She was a little embarrassed, as her colleagues were right beside her. "Let go of me," she warned him with a low voice that only the 2 of them could hear. Jack lowered his head, looking at his hand and hers. He was distracted again. Sylvia had no choice but to forcibly pull away her hand. She then glanced at her colleagues. Clyde and Carlo had turned their eyes away. Only Alex was looking at her sarcastically. That made Sylvia feel uncomfortable and repulsed. Jack spent a short while staring at his empty hand, then wrote a note for Sylvia. "Their hands are rough. Yours is smooth." Sylvia didn't know what to say. Alex said jokingly,
"Sylvia, are you having a secret conversation with Mr. Kipling?"
Sylvia was left with a red face. At that very moment, she felt lucky that he did not like talking. If he had said that out loud, the 3 male officers would be offended. It would also sound like he was trying to flirt with her. Mr. Maxwell explained with a smile,
"It's not a secret conversation. Mr. Kipling doesn't like talking. Talking is very exhausting for him, so he normally communicates with people by writing."
Alex was stunned. The writing was more tiring, wasn't it? He couldn't fathom the mind of this man. Sylvia felt embarrassed. She was worried that Jack would write something inappropriate. She quickly said, "Let's head in. It's too sunny out here." She was mocked and ridiculed last night. She wouldn't allow it to happen again. Jack glanced up at the sky before walking indoors. After taking a few steps, he turned to look at Sylvia. He stopped and turned a couple more times. "Everyone?" Sylvia had a headache. He was being too obvious. She might as well lead the way. Jack followed her quickly, like her little sidekick. He wasn't turning anymore. There were various fruits and nuts placed on the coffee table in the main living room. It was obvious that it wasn't prepared by Jack. Mr. Maxwell beckoned them to sit. "Help yourselves. No need to hold back. I'm grateful to all of you for protecting our mister. Thank you, officers."
Mr. Kipling is devoting himself to the work of science. It's our duty to protect him,
Clyde said politely as he took a seat. Sylvia sat down as well. Just as Alex was about to sit down next to Sylvia, a figure rushed forward and grabbed the seat next to her. Jack handed over a slice of watermelon to Sylvia and looked at her expectantly. "Thank you." Sylvia took the watermelon. She was feeling extremely self-conscious in front of the rest of them. You should give a slice to the others as well." Jack lowered his head and wrote something, then handed the note to Clyde, Carlo, and Alex. "Get one yourself," it read. The difference in treatment was obvious. Alex was looking at Sylvia with mockery in his eyes. Sylvia started eating the watermelon since the situation was going to be uncomfortable anyway. After she took a bite, she exclaimed, "This is delicious. I've never tasted watermelon this juicy and refreshing before."
Are you exaggerating?
Carlo took a bite of the watermelon, and he was also stunned.
Oh, it's really delicious.
Mr. Maxwell smiled.
This is a special breed of watermelon that Mr. Kipling's mother cultivated. It's a genetically modified version.
They remembered that Mr. Kipling's mother was a biologist. Clyde said,
"This watermelon would be a huge hit if it was released to the masses. The cost would be too high,"
Mr. Maxwell said.
"The seedling would cost about $200, not to mention that each vine can only produce one fruit. The watermelon will have to be sold at $1,000 for it to be profitable. No one would pay for that."
Sylvia was speechless. Why did she spend so much time developing this technology then? What a waste of brain cells. Mr. Maxwell smiled.
"Because Professor Rosaria loves watermelons."
The crowd was silent again. The whole family was a bunch of weirdos, but it was one delicious watermelon. They quickly gobbled it up. Afterward, they had strawberries, oranges, and cherries. They were all delicious. Sylvia asked, "Don't tell me that these are special breeds grown by Mr. Kipling's mother as well." Before Mr. Maxwell spoke, Jack nodded his head. Sylvia stopped herself. She was going to say that whoever becomes the daughter-in-law of this family would be a lucky girl to be able to access such amazing fruits and produce. She was scared that Jack would write, "You can be my wife," and embarrass her further. However, Carlo announced her thoughts aloud.
"Mr. Jack, your wife would be a lucky woman."
Jack looked at Sylvia. Why did he look at her? She wasn't planning on being Jack Kipling's wife. Thankfully, Jack never listened to other people talking. He failed to understand the hidden meaning of Carlo's words and kept serving fruit to Sylvia. "I'm good," Sylvia said. "Mr. Kipling, for your safety, we need to put a few surveillance cameras and convert listening devices on your personal belongings that you'll bring to Paris." Jack nodded. "Please let us know if we've caused you any inconvenience," Sylvia reminded him. Jack shook his head. "You can go and rest now. We'll do the rest." Sylvia stood up. Jack stood up almost immediately. At first, Sylvia thought that he would go to work. However, he followed them when Mr. Maxwell guided the squad to his bedroom. Clyde and the others didn't say anything about it. After all, Jack had the right to know where the devices would be. As the devices were installed, Clyde talked to Jack about the security plan. However, after a long speech, he found that Jack wasn't listening at all. With no other choice, he asked Sylvia to repeat it to him. At lunchtime, the chef served some mouth-watering dishes, including spicy beef steak, roasted chicken, mashed potatoes, and vegetable stew. Sylvia was surprised by the decadent lunch. Jack seemed to have memorized what she said last time. While she was thinking, Jack handed her a note. "Do you like the food?" Sylvia nodded. Jack grinned. His eyes even glowed. "Just eat." Sylvia picked up her fork and started eating. She had too much fruit in the morning, so she only ate a little for lunch. The 3 male officers had quite a lot too. Jack didn't touch the meat, but sat quietly beside her, eating the beans and cabbage. Clyde felt very sorry for Jack. He couldn't help but say,
"Sylvia, pick some meat for Mr. Kipling."
"He doesn't eat meat." When Sylvia explained, Jack turned to her and opened his delicate pink lips, waiting for her to feed him. Sylvia didn't know what to do.
"Just feed him,"
said Clyde. Sylvia wanted to stomp her foot on Jack's. He always made her feel embarrassed. With anger, she picked a slice and put it into Jack's mouth.
Wait, Mr. Kipling can't eat spicy food,
Mr. Maxwell said, but it was already too late. Jack closed his mouth and chewed the pork. In the next second, his entire face turned red and his eyes became watery. Soon, his lips turned red as well. This made him look even prettier than a girl. Looking at him, the others were stunned. Just spit it out! Sylvia was a little shocked too. Looking at the pitiful Jack, she really wanted to pet him. Jack shook his head. He wanted to find his pen, but the hot flavor in his mouth was torturing him. While gasping for air, he said,
"You fed it to me. I don't want to spit it out."
He swallowed the meat, then quickly stood up and walked to the bathroom. He had no idea that what he said to Sylvia made her want to look for a hole to crawl in. Alex snorted and said,
"You said that he doesn't like you. Isn't that obvious enough?"
Sylvia couldn't stand his gaze any longer, so she argued with him. "When did I say that he doesn't like me? You've been saying that to yourself the whole time. I just didn't like your disdainful attitude. Besides, what's so wrong with the fact that he likes me? I'm pretty and capable. Isn't that normal for guys to like me?"
"You..." "All right, stop."
Clyde glared at Alex, then said to him,
"Sylvia is right. She's single and so is Mr. Kipling. No rule says they can't be together."
After a short pause, he said to Sylvia in earnest,
"You need to control yourself. Don't throw him into your bed."
Did she look like such a horny person? Carlo nodded his head meaningfully.
"I just nearly turned gay when I saw him just now."
No, her colleagues were too dirty. "I'm done. You guys go ahead." Sylvia quickly stood up to leave. She decided to check on Jack in the bathroom. He was still gargling his mouth and splashing his face with cold water. Sylvia walked over and he looked up at her. His lips were even redder than before, as if he was wearing lipstick, and his eyes were watery. He said weakly,
"It's really spicy, but I ate it since you fed it to me. I didn't spit it out."
Sylvia's heart softened at his innocent face. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have fed that to you." Sylvia felt bad. Jack grinned.
"Feed me something non-spicy next time then."
Sylvia's face darkened. "I'm not going to feed you anymore. Feed yourself." Jack lowered his head sadly. Sylvia didn't know what to say. "In the future, don't flirt with me in front of my colleagues. They might get the wrong idea about us. I don't want that, so just treat me like another one of your bodyguards."
"Flirt?"
Jack was stunned. He didn't understand what she meant. "Yeah,